It is easy in life in general, but also our shared church life, to simply roll forward day by day with whatever the next thing on the calendar or the list is. And that doing whatever is next on the list or the calendar constitutes a lot of our lives. But sometimes it's necessary to pull back from the flow, to settle into a different kind of a space, and to reflect and dream together. And this weekend, many of us did just that as we gathered at our now annual church retreat. This is our second one, so we can call it annual now. Second one in a long time, I should say. Along with dancing the hustle so hard you bust your knee, and hearing original poetry at a talent show, along with smelling the sweetness of the evergreen trees and hearing the earth wisdom shared by our speaker, Catherine LaFond, along with getting trounced at Uno, speaking from personal experience, and overfilling our plates at the buffet line, we also spent some time together as a community reflecting on where we are now and where we intend to focus our time and energy over the next 3 or so years. And since the retreat was well attended, but many couldn't make it, the council thought it was important to bring back some of the reflections and work, along with the hopes and plans that were generated there, to share with everybody that's today in worship. For those who are at the retreat, there will also be a brief time for you to share your reflections. Much of the germination of this work came from my own retreat time this January, when during a week of study leave, I hunkered down in a cabin in the snowy woods along the Wenatchee River. There, as I reviewed the first 3 years with this church and looked ahead to the next, I realized that our church needed a new plan, a new roadmap to guide our way. Over the past 5 years, this church has seen steady growth in church attendance, participation, and membership. As a helpful metric, we've watched our church attendance climb steadily each year from an average of 42.8 in attendance with no kids in 2020 to an average last year of 52.7 each Sunday in worship, with an average of 3.1 kids. In 2020, the maximum ever in attendance was 58. And this Easter, we celebrated a very full church with 97 people filling our pews online and in person. As I reflected back on the past 3 years, along with some good conversation partners in the books, Real Good Church and The Inviting Church, super geeky church reading for pastors, I looked for some answers about what we were doing that was contributing to that growth. How is it that this is happening here in the midst of nationwide trends of decline? According to the Inviting Church, with research from the Alban Institute, all of these are important factors in attracting new members and hold true for our life together. Worship is vital and authentic, drawing us closer together and to God each week. It's responsive to the needs of our worship community as well as the global or wider context. Our governing body, the council, as well as the committees, take ownership and action as they see the need, with good communication across committees and people. Our pastor-congregational relationship is strong, both in mutual respect and care. And we weathered several personal clergy situations, that'd be me, with grace and communication. We are active in serving our wider community. We provide direct help such as Suquamish Community Kitchen, our pantry, the ministerial fund that you all fill for emergencies. We offer community care through low-cost shopping at our bazaar and rummage sale. We offer our outdoor sanctuary space, and we host regular community groups from the community. And we offer wider support to the community, such as our participation in Pride and the Juneteenth celebration, writing letters to the council and speaking out when we are called to, giving to multiple special offerings throughout the year, and sending delegates to the annual meeting. For a small church that numbers around 78 for official membership and closer, nudging about 100 in active participants, we do a lot. And there's an authenticity to our community that people say that they feel when they walk in. And because of that, they want to be a part of it. We've held 3 new member classes, or SUCC Curious gatherings, in 3 years, welcoming a total of 23 new participants, 12 of whom joined formally as members. These are gifts we want to hold on to as we grow. And as we ponder how to steward the gift of the vibrant spirit that dwells in this place, the people that wiggle with liveliness, it's helpful to anchor ourselves in who we are. Identifying our mission and our values with clarity helps us share who we are with others who are seeking a faith community like ours, and helps us stay true to who we are as we grow. Gratefully, we have a very powerful mission statement, which was written in the late mid-90s and adapted by the church at the 1996 annual meeting. It goes, "We, the Suquamish Community Congregational United Church of Christ, are in a spiritual journey in covenant with God and with one another. As a worshiping people, we seek to know the living God in the experience and sacredness of our daily lives. We witness God's love, spreading and sharing the good news through action and word. As an open and affirming church, ever grateful for God's unconditional love, we welcome and accept everyone into worship and full participation in church life. Following the example of Jesus Christ, we strive to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, and to provide service through outreach and involvement in seeking wholeness, justice, and righteousness for all people. As stewards, we are called to be a caring people living in harmony with the environment, respecting and honoring the gifts of God's creation. It's remarkable how current that mission statement feels, as though our former church members reached through to the future to guide our current church today. And as some folks pointed out at the retreat, it's also rather lengthy. In discernment, observing where the Spirit is moving in our church and reading through both our mission statement and the results from last year's church retreat, I propose that some key strengths and values emerge which might provide us a more practical and memorable handholds of who we are and what we value here. And so I propose that 4 main values of Suquamish Church are expansive welcome, spiritual nourishment and growth, care for neighbor, and creation or earth care. So with all of this in mind, at the retreat, we turned our attention on how to support growth that echoed these values. We broke into 4 working groups, which brainstormed actions that we might take on. Help people find us and acclimate into our community of faith. Offer multiple pathways to deepen our spiritual journeys. Grow our courage and capacity for resistance. And deepen our commitment to creation care as a church. So we split into 4 groups, and people self-selected which group of action they wanted to engage in. And they came back with what you see here surrounding me on the chancel. The orange cards are the ideas from the Find Then Belong group. The light green are from the Nourish Spiritual Journeys group. The yellow cards are from the Call to Resist group, and the bright green cards are from the Creation Care group. And then each group divided their proposed actions with some grumbles into tasks over the next 3 years. You'll notice that year 1 over here under the Bible is the fullest. Some of their ideas that you can read for yourself, but I'll help read. Some of the ideas include wearing t-shirts to community events to promote awareness of our presence in the community, and develop a greeter team that would welcome and accompany new attendees. To begin a, I think, spiritually focused film club, and to sponsor a Poetry in the Park reading. To coordinate with other groups whose values align with ours to foster joint resistance activities, and to have a monthly prayer and meditation time open to all in the community that fosters peace, love, and resistance. To occasionally offer meatless meals as a part of our community dinners. I had to get one controversial one in there. And to increase our natural landscaping to attract pollinators. I invite any retreat attendees with a mic for the tech team, or Ace, if he's willing perhaps, to add their thoughts and reflections about their small group work or the overall process at this time. What's surfaced in your groups or during the retreat that you'd like to share with everyone? And we'll hear from about 3 people. And if you're online, feel free to go ahead and unmute yourselves and speak. I'm not going to be able to read your comments for you today.
It's a shy group.
Well, people might need a minute to think, too.
And I can't help but notice that some of our attendants seem to be missing today. I think everybody's just worn out from the weekend. It was very, very busy. I had fun. And you all missed me jumping off the roof into a pool of water. To be fair, everyone missed it. I didn't actually do it, but it was going to happen next time.
I think one of the things that these 3 boards represent is the enthusiasm that was happening as we were brainstorming. And so, for example, on that first one, year 1, there were so many orange cards, we couldn't fit them all in without jamming them all together, which means we probably won't do very many of them, right, within the next year. Except what it says to me is the enthusiasm that was coming through. Brainstorming is what it is. It's not necessarily the definitive actions we're going to take, but I loved the enthusiasm.
Thanks, Gil.
All right, you just get more random observations with me then. So I love this right here. Does this look blue to anybody else? Does this look blue? I really like the idea that they're blue. Anyway, just a thought.
I just pause for anybody online who would like to unmute. Clary.
30 more seconds of me. Oh, just kidding.
I just love the fact that there is a willingness and acceptance from all of us, not only those who attended, but who were unable to attend. There's a feeling that you are such a part of this church, that you have a say in what is happening. Instead of having a doctrine per se that says this is the only way you can think, There is an openness to share, to give the community. You are part of something. You're actually a vital part, and you're important. And I really, really appreciate that feeling. So thank you.
As a representative of one of the sad people who couldn't be there this weekend, I'm so interested in all of that. Where are they going to be so that we can take time to really look at them and digest them? Because it looks like you guys did amazing work.
Yeah, not this next week, but in future weeks, I'll get these typed up, and we'll have a way of sharing them out to the community in a little chart that'll kind of guide the way.
In the meantime, will those be out in the Stewart Hall or something so we can
Sure.
look at them?
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right.
we can do that. Thanks, Claudia. So some of these are specific ideas that will take on a new life in our community, especially the ones that people decide to take leadership on and move them forward. And some will simply exist here, serving their purpose to help generate enthusiasm and ideas, just as Gail mentioned, for the next steps in our church. An activity like this one rarely creates an ironclad plan that must be followed in lockstep manner, but rather its values lie in the conversations and ownership that conversations like this generate. The other values of activities like this one, beyond the specifics of these actions and plans, is that they help us listen together toward where God is calling us toward next. They help us attune to each other and the context in which our church lives, the home we create here together to be able to respond to that call. They help us look beyond the rhythm of our weekly worship together to ask God and ourselves how we are living out the practices of being the realm of God here on earth, here in this community. How we are practicing the values and actions that Jesus teaches us. And so we are guided forward into expansive welcome, spiritual nourishment and growth, care for neighbor, and creation care. May God bless these endeavors as God draws us forward, creating and growing the church home that echoes the one described in the early church that we heard today in the Acts of the Apostles, praising God and demonstrating God's goodness to everyone. May it be so. Amen.